Now, King Charles has converted his home on his Sandringham Estate into a luxury holiday rental, which is available to the public. Now, this sounds great, of course, but the big question is how much it would actually cost.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's actually quite a bargain. It's something like £6,000 to rent out. It's a beautiful property, sort of an arts and crafts style home on the Sandringham Estate. This isn't surprising. You know, when we talk about Sandringham, of course, there's the main house where the royal family stays, but there's also all of these other smaller properties and cottages and workers, you know, where all the workers, because, you know, there's a huge staff living there. So I don't think they're exactly going to be renting out the throne room, but for $6,000, I think it sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yeah, better than I expected.
Yeah.
Now, the Norwegian Royal Palace has announced that Princess Ingrid Alexandra will move to Australia to study at the University of Sydney. Now, tell us about this. When will she actually be arriving?
Yes, so Princess Ingrid Alexandra, as you said, is moving to Sydney. She'll be at Sydney University starting in the second semester in August. I noticed there were some publications that have shared very specific details about where she's staying. Just editorially, Sky, we've opted not to. I think it's really important with something like this to protect her privacy, but she will be in the Harbour City from August onwards. I think the decision to have her study here, I think there's a few factors at play. Firstly, she has just completed military service. She's 21. I think it's a great time in her life to be abroad and enriching herself before she's, you know, in full-time royal mode. I also think that there's frankly a lot of scandal at the moment in the Norwegian monarchy. They've had her half-sibling. It's quite convoluted, but basically Ingrid Alexandra has a half-sibling. Her mother had a previous relationship before she married into the monarchy, and there's a son from that relationship. He's about 28 years old. It's her half-brother, Ingrid's half-brother, and he is currently facing very serious charges of sexual assault. So he possibly could, you know, be spending a lot of time in jail. This is a very, very serious case. And even though he's not a member of the royal family, this has been a huge scandal in Norway. Also, in terms of the Norwegian royal family, you know, Ingrid's aunt, Martha Louise, I believe we talked about her on this show last year. She's very controversial. She's a clairvoyant. She is a real kind of free spirit. Nothing wrong with that. But again, you know, there's maybe a bit of a publicity issue with that. So I think this is a really great move for her to be away from the chaos and away from the press in Norway, in Australia. And I hope she has a great time. I think it's a wonderful tradition of royals studying in Australia. We had the current King of Thailand spent several years studying in Australia. Of course, King Charles spent a semester at Geelong Grammar. So, you know, it's just a wonderful tradition, and I think Aussies, we're always good. We give people their privacy. We let them have their space.
Absolutely, and it is exciting for us.
Yeah.
Now, Denmark's King Fredericks has presented a special royal honour to his nephews after they were stripped of their royal titles. So what's prompted Frederik to do this?
Yes, this is a really clever decision. So essentially, there was a huge scandal in the Danish royal family a couple of years ago where Margrethe, Frederik's mother, stripped some of her grandchildren of their royal titles. It was a very controversial move, but it was sort of kind of like what King Charles envisions, you know, a slimmed down monarchy. She did it because the Danish royal family works because it's small, and she kind of felt that it was getting a bit too extended with all of these sort of cousins and nephews. So that decision went down like a lead balloon. Frederik's brother's children were impacted by that decision. He was furious. He spoke against his mother in the Danish press. He said it was a form of, you know, mistreatment of them. It was very, very controversial. And now 2 years later, I think Frederik's really righting the wrong. I think it's a really genius move. He's brought them into this order, which is the sort of civilian honour, very sort of royal style with civilian honour, but it's not restoring the title. So he's not contradicting Margrethe.
Okay.
He's not going back on her word and her actions, but he is extending the olive branch. I think it was a very classy move by Frederik.
Sounds like it indeed. Reilly Sullivan, thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour.
Thank you.